problem with the government side is that they assume that fair price is a very crucial element in the crimes provided in the antitrust provision and in the revised penal code. The thing here is that it is enough, given the law and all the regulation law, for us to prove that there really is collusion among these companies. That Petron, Shell, and other companies are calling each other at night and asking how much are you going to sell your oil the next day. That is enough for us to say that they are really forming a cartel. Now, if you put fair price, it's not really a necessary element because these crimes provided in all the regulation law and the revised penal code are actually crimes that prohibit the determination of fair price. Because as argued by Allen already, fair price is actually the byproduct if we allow fair market policies and really economic liberalization to happen. So fair price really isn't determinable by law because it was never a creation of law. It's actually an accepted economic concept even during the time of Adam Smith, the father of economics. So we say that if we allow the invisible hand to work, fair price would happen regardless. So there is no need for us to define it in the law. And it's actually counterproductive because if you define fair price in the law, it's counterproductive to liberalization because now you're imposing a fair price, ergo a regulated price, which creates a criminal liability that makes these companies liable if they don't follow that. So in effect, there's still regulation. It's not really deregulated at all. Now moving to my case, Madam Chair and members of this House. First, I say that all the regulation law provides a more equitable burden of payment of oil consumption. Because if we're going back to the oil price stabilization fund, it was necessary for the government to enact several laws in order to replenish it. Because during the the Gulf War, prices of oil really in the international market was skyrocketing. So it was necessary for the government in 1990 to enact RA 6952 to replenish it with 5 billion pesos. So where did this 5 billion pesos came from? It came from the taxpayers. Now the problem is that you burden the taxpayers regardless of their oil consumption. Now the problem is it's not equitable. So if I have only a car and he got 5 cars, we still pay the same tax. He doesn't really pay for his own consumption because anyway the government subsidizes it. But here in the status quo, we say that your payment or your burden in the increase of prices of oil is no longer paid by the government. So if he got 5 cars and I have 1 car, my payment or my burden in paying the consumption for oil is lesser compared to him who's got more consumption. So we say this is more parallel to the benefit principle where those who use a publicly provided service should pay for it. So we say that this is a more equitable and actually a more pro-poor policy compared to them, where the government indiscriminately charges taxes to every person regardless of their own consumption. Yes, madam.
Are you saying, Mr. Garcia, that it is only those who have vehicles or cars who are affected by the...
Yeah, no, not only that, madam.
And that the consumers who are affected by the price increases of consumer products are not affected?
Not only that, everybody, madam, is actually affected. But the level of effect, madam's chair, is different from someone who owns a car or someone who only pays 8 pesos to take him to SM or to the market, madam chair, and members of this. So it's different. At least it's mitigated to other persons as compared to an indiscriminate charge of tax or to only to replenish the oil fund, madam chair, and members of this House. Second, we say that it provides incentives for oil companies to pursue efficiency and better service. Now, according to the study of Thai Energy Minister Amaranan, who is also an economist, according to him, in the experience of Thailand, when they deregulated the oil sector, there were better service, more oil gas stations in several provinces. Okay. And we say that through this policy, now the oil sector has more incentive to create an efficient market and a more efficient, okay, which creates lesser cost for oil.
Thank you, Alan.
Yes.
Rex, 2 minutes now to cross.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker. First question, will you agree with me that the intent of RA 8479 is to promote competition in the downstream oil industry for the benefit of the general public?
Yes, yes.
That's right. Now, do you think that after 12 years of the implementation of the oil deregulation law, was there really a real competition in the market?
Yes, there is real competition.
Because, Your Honors, according to our data, according to AIM Policy Center, 98% of the oil that are in the market right now are still being controlled by Chevron, by Shell, and
Then charge them
which
for
are the companies that are operating before the oil deregulation
Yeah,
law. Yes, exactly.
It's only a problem of implementation from the Department of Energy because it's provided in the law
Exactly,
that cartel
Mr.
and price fixing is punishable by law.
Exactly.
It's
However,
provided in
we
the
cannot
law.
do that as of this point of time
Why?
because there's no determinant whether this particular these companies
It's not enough for you to determine fair price. It's enough that they compute. There's already criminal intent.
You need
And
to
it will be
define
punished either
fair pricing,
by the revised
Mr.
penal
Speaker.
code or the law.
Next question.
That's
Now-
basic criminal law, intent.
Yes,
RPC.
however, the failure of the law is that they did not define fair pricing.
it's not an
fair
important
pricing.
element
That's
of
why
the
you cannot
crimes.
determine
Prove to
whether
me that
the
they are
action or the
important element,
behavior.
that fair price is
Mr.
important
Speaker,
element
the
of the
action and
crime.
the behavior of these oil companies are actually cartelization or predatory pricing because
It's
in
not
the
an
first place,
indispensable element
fair
of the
price
crimes.
is not
You can
defined.
charge them criminally regardless of the
in the Republic Act
definition of fair price.
8479, Mr. Speaker.
It's enough that they try to control fair price.
Yeah,
That
but
they should
how
be
can you
charged with
how
crimes.
can you let me tell this Mosogas House, how can you tell us that
Well,
indeed a
if
certain
Petron
company
and Shell
that is- indeed a
decided to
certain
control
company-
the price-
Let me finish my
Okay,
question.
sige.
How can you determine whether a certain company is actually dwelling on cartelization or predatory pricing? What's your determinant on saying that?
Well, it's the duty now of the Department of Energy to determine collusion. It's no longer
Okay,
that's
all
not
right.
the law.
Let's break it up, boys.
Your
It's a
Honors,
matter of
the
executive.
law
Okay,
should
guys,
be complete
that's
before
it.
it
It's
leaves
a
to
matter of
legislation.
executive implementation.
It should
Okay.
be complete.
Jans, 4 minutes.